For today, we're talking to Dr. SLoper4, the manager of the special collections at the Nashville Public Library. And of course, Dr. Loper, let me, during this last 6 minutes that we have here, give you an opportunity to sort of make a pitch to those individuals that you'd like to bring into this project, to become a part of this project, and perhaps give us some idea in terms of your vision or any of the other information that you'd like for us to have during this last 4.5 to 5 minutes.
Well, we're hoping that this collection will be a significant contribution to the history of Nashville. And we are unique, and this period during Nashville's history was unique. We have some wonderful collections that tie into the period. We have things from Ben West, we have things from Beverly Briley. I think it would just be very useful to anyone who likes to research and enjoys using primary source materials and thinking for themselves, deciding what to put into or what to leave out in their interpretation of history. It gives you a different approach.
What about, since you've mentioned the Nashville banner, let me also say something about the Tennessean, and especially about an individual named John Seigenthaler, because he played a very, very significant role in
yes, he did.
Have you made contact with him in reference to he and John J. Hooker? I think that those
they're
are
on our list.
Oh, they're on your, very good.
They're on our list.
Would almost impossible to have a list without having those in it. What about Dr. Bernard Lafayette?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, we're planning a program for next spring, which we hope will materialize, called Music of the Movement.
Good, very good.
Which will focus on the Carawans, Guy and Candy,
good.
Carawan,
I know those.
And the Nashville Quartet, and we're hoping to do that program in our auditorium in the spring. So we have a lot of activity around this.
That's coming out of that, the whole project. You know,
and as I was, during the break, we were talking about Robert Churchwell and how interesting that program was that we did in the auditorium, and the auditorium was full. It was interesting to see the mix of the audience and the response.
That was one reason, Dr. Loper, that we mentioned Seigenthaler and John J. Hooker, primarily to emphasize that this whole civil rights project is not specifically concerned with African Americans, that all individuals in Nashville, there were many individuals in Nashville who played a significant role and who have a very, very important story to talk about and to tell about during this time.
And we're really hoping to get those stories, that we get as I said, the law enforcement, the student activists. We have recorded 6 interviews from a group called SOC, which was the white equivalent to SNCC.
Okay, very good.
They had a reunion here this summer, so we were able to get those interviews on videotape. So we have begun, we're doing some interviewing. We're still training volunteers. And we're looking for people who are interested in doing transcription work.
Very good.
If it takes 3 hours of transcription work to transfer 1 hour of audio tape. So it's about a 5-hour commitment for someone who's going to volunteer if they do the whole thing. If they just do the prep and the interview, it's still can be 3 to 4 hours.
When you transcribe these audio tapes, does that mean that you almost literally take a
word by
word statement?
Transfer of what they say to the computer.
And of course, this is just tremendous information, and it gives quite a bit of information that you really don't see.
And it's labor intensive.
It is. It
labor
really
intensive.
Is.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Very good. And of course, Dr. Loper, this project is undoubtedly one of the most important projects that you're involved in as the manager of the special collections at this particular time. Now, you mentioned earlier that Dewey Grantham had given you this large collection, his academic collection. He also was a very, very significant figure during that period. Have you thought about
And he has some wonderful books that he has written. We have all of those.
Okay.
Yes. We have quite a number of people that I don't know how many of them. We're having to limit it to a certain number. We're hoping to keep it to 100 in this first project. Now we may decide to do a second group, but we're limiting the first group to 100. We're trying to keep each representative group to
Mm-hmm.
25.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to get 25 people who participated in
Mm-hmm.
as students, another group of 25 that may have been
Mm-hmm.
involved through their church,
Mm-hmm. Very
because it was a very church
good. Mm-hmm.
sponsored kind of
Kind-
thing
good.
and
Mhm.
supported.
Mm-hmm.
Another 25 might be shopkeepers or people who
Mhm.
came downtown to shop,
Mm-hmm.
and the student activists. So
Mhm.
we have categories, and we're trying to get a balance within the 100 interviews
Mhm.
that we hope to do
Mm-hmm.
among those 4 categories.
And you know,
And
I
we may
think,
not be able to do that.
and that's what I was thinking. You know, I think you can consider yourself very, very fortunate that you do have this wide selection of individuals and
Yes.
wide selection of information that it's difficult to think about what you ought to include rather than
Yes.
simply reaching out and trying to put everything that you
Because
can
we couldn't
possibly
do
get.
everything.
Very good, and that's very good. And of course, Dr. Loper, let me, over those last 20 seconds, thank you for coming by and giving us that
Well, I
information in
enjoyed it.
reference to
Thank
this
you.
project. And we know that it has been in the press and that we'll pay attention to some of the other things that are developing around that. And I'm sure that if anybody would like to get in touch with you, they can get in touch with you at the public library.
Yes, I can.
Okay, and we'll encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.